Now, let's test my reckoning with somebody who is absolutely in the mix, okay? Democratic representative from California, Maxine Waters. Madam, always a pleasure.
Thank you. Delighted to be with you this evening.
So, Representative Waters, am I off base or do I have the dynamic basically right with whatever additions you'd like to apply?
No. I think you have the dynamics basically right. As a matter of fact, you have candidly described what goes on in the media, how it works, what gets the ads, what gets the attention. And so I've always believed that. I've thought about it. I don't know the details about it, but we want to talk this evening about Biden. And of course, I have come out very strongly in support of him. And I believe that I am doing the right thing for the right reasons. I believe that Biden has kept his promises in so many different ways. And let me just allude to some of those. First of all, for the Black community, a Black woman vice president, a Black woman on the Supreme Court, support for the HBCUs, understanding some of the difficulties with healthcare in the Black community, placing a limit on how much you pay for insulin. We have lots of diabetics and pre-diabetics, and on and on and on. And then I like the fact that he had the infrastructure bill, which pretends to be able to not only create jobs, but contracts. I am interested and working on trying to close the wealth gap. In order to do that, minorities and Blacks and others in business need to be able to deal with procurement in government and government jobs and the kinds of contracts that are put together by something like infrastructure.
So, Congresswoman, all of
these things and more.
What do you make of the argument that, and I know part of what you're going to hit me with, nobody has ever accused you, no matter, I know you're over 45, but nobody's ever accused you of not being on your game. But here's the argument. He's too old. He's not on his game. You've all known it for a long time. And if you want the Black vote, put Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket. Why isn't that your position?
Well, let me tell you, I was at the Essence Festival in New Orleans this weekend with thousands upon thousands of Blacks and a lot of women. One of the things I said when the Congressional Black Caucus gave a presentation, I said, you know what? I'm older than Biden, and I get up every day, I exercise, I work late hours, and I take care of Black people, and I take care of the business of the Congress of the United States of America. I'm adding that so that you can be clear about what I was trying to say. And so I believe that he believes that he can do the job. I believe he has been fair, not only with the Black community, but with the people of this country. I believe he's an honorable and decent man. And I believe that he is about saving our democracy that is at stake because of Trump, who's in love with Putin and Kim Jong-un and others, because he wants to be in total control. He wants to be a dictator, and he said so in so many words. I believe that he deserves to be treated fairly.
Congressman Waters, what chance do you think there is that Biden gets pushed out or pushed to step out if the polls come out and show more slippage?
I do not believe that at this point. I believe that he said he's not going to be pushed out. He's going to keep going. I think that he's willing to show up. Someone's talking about a press conference that he's going to have tomorrow. He's going to do very well. He's going to be working at doing better and better. He has a base that supports him, organized labor. And I and others who think like I'm thinking now about him. And I think that's older Americans for sure. And I do believe that there are people who have, grown up with him, people who trust him. And when we compare him with what we're dealing with in this country, the outrageous Trump, I believe that he is going to stay in, and I believe that he's got a chance to be elected. So I believe that.
Well, he better have a chance, especially against Trump. But we'll wait then, see the poll numbers. and see what at this point manifests in a couple of days once everybody digests them. And you're welcome back as always. Congressman Maxine Waters, thank you very much. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.